Welcome to The Explainer. So let's just dive right in because today we're unpacking something incredibly unique and honestly, deeply fascinating. We're going to analyze the digital footprint of a really grassroots YouTube channel called Dave Avenger 44. Now, when we usually think about educational curriculums or self-help resources, we kind of picture these highly produced videos from clinical psychologists or massive organizations, right? But today's source material takes us in a completely different, way more intimate direction. We're looking at a comprehensive survival guide built by a student, strictly for students. It's raw, it's highly structured, and it is a perfect example of community-driven support. Right off the bat, we gotta talk about how this creator introduces themselves. Their bio explicitly says, "I am not a professional, just a student who wants to help people." I mean, what a powerful hook, right? In a world that's literally full of self-proclaimed experts, this kind of raw, unfiltered bio instantly builds trust. It completely grounds the whole channel in this peer-to-peer authenticity. If you're a young person going through a really tough time, hearing advice from someone who is actively walking those exact same halls and facing those same social pressures, well, sometimes that's exactly what you need to hear. And that grassroots vibe is reflected perfectly in their metrics. We're talking just 9 subscribers and exactly 10 videos. I want to highlight those numbers because they actually tell a really beautiful story. They prove that you absolutely do not need a massive audience to create profound impact and build a meaningful curriculum. This creator didn't wait around until they had 1 million followers to share their insights. They saw need, they structured a 10-video solution, and they just put it out there into the world. It's such a great testament to the fact that creating a roadmap to help even just 1 or 2 people is entirely worth it. So here is the exact roadmap we'll be covering today. First, a student's anti-bullying mission. Second, defining direct and indirect bullying. Third, strategies for tackling bullying. Fourth, preventing future bullying targets. And finally, healing from traumatic experiences. Let's start with Section 1, a student's anti-bullying mission. Understanding the real intent behind this channel is absolutely key. This isn't just some random collection of vlogs. It's a deeply mission-driven project. The Bullying and its Solutions playlist features 10 videos, all uploaded about a year ago, with incredibly modest view counts. We're talking ranging from 2 to 18 views. But if you look at the titles, they progress so logically. The playlist acts as a holistic, sequential syllabus. The creator purposefully designed this to guide victims step by step from those dark initial stages of victimization, all the way through to empowerment and recovery. It is quite literally a complete, self-contained course just sitting quietly on the internet. Moving on to Section 2, defining direct and indirect bullying. This brings us to the first really critical step in the actual curriculum. Because, before you can solve a problem, you have to be able to name it. The creator splits this definition phase into 2 distinct parts. Direct bullying, which got 3 views, and indirect bullying, which actually brought in the highest viewership on the channel at 18 views. It's so smart. By separating direct, in-your-face aggression from the more subtle, invisible social manipulation, they're giving victims the precise vocabulary they need to properly identify their own unique situation. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that identification absolutely has to come before action. This student creator instinctively understands a massive psychological principle. When you're being targeted, everything feels so chaotic and overwhelming. But by forcing the viewer to first stop and categorize the specific type of abuse they're facing, it strips away some of that emotional panic. It's just a logical necessity to figure out the mechanics of the bullying before you ever move on to the actual confrontation phase. And that leads us perfectly into Section 3, strategies for tackling bullying. Okay, so once the viewer has identified what's going on, the creator instructs them on how to actually fight back. Notice the pattern here, though. They don't just offer some quick magic fix. Tackling the issue is broken down into a part 1 and a part 2. This reinforces such a vital lesson. Tackling bullying is not a one-off event. You don't just stand up for yourself once and suddenly everything is fixed. No, it's a structured, multi-part procedure that really takes time, patience, and a lot of strategy. By turning defense into a structured process, this creator is doing something incredibly empathetic. Imagine being a super overwhelmed, anxious student. A single hour-long video on how to fight your bully would probably be way too intimidating to even process. But breaking these actionable strategies down into distinct, digestible parts, that really validates the victim's feelings. It essentially says, hey, take this one step at a time. It's a process. It makes this monumental task of defending yourself actually feel manageable. Let's look at Section 4, preventing future bullying targets. Once the immediate threat is handled, the curriculum logically shifts to securing the future. There's a specific video titled, How to Avoid Being a Target of Bullying in the Future. And this is a massive pivot in the roadmap. Think of it like this. We're no longer just putting out fires, we're fireproofing the house. This topic is absolutely crucial because it takes the student completely out of the role of the victim currently under attack and empowers them to take control of their future environment. It's all about recognizing those early patterns and setting up hard boundaries before the bullying can even start again. So we're essentially shifting from reactive defense to proactive defense. And this connects right back to the core narrative of the channel. The goal isn't just to barely survive middle school or high school. The real goal is to build long-term resilience as a student. It's about equipping yourself with a brand new toolkit so that you never, ever find yourself defenseless again. Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Healing from Traumatic Experiences. Because, of course, stopping the bullying isn't actually the end of the story. This is the most delicate, and I'd argue the absolute most important stage of our survivor's roadmap. If we look back at the channel's bio for a second, the creator specifically stated they want to help students overcome bullying and their traumatic experiences. Notice how those are two different things? Sure enough, the video titled How to Heal from Bullying serves as the capstone of this entire playlist. It completely fulfills the creator's ultimate promise. They didn't just teach their audience how to fight, they stuck around to help them heal. This brilliantly highlights the profound emotional intelligence of this student creator. By dedicating an entirely separate space to healing, completely divorcing it from the acts of tackling or preventing, they're acknowledging a really hard truth. Stopping the bullying doesn't just magically erase the lingering trauma. The anxiety, the huge hit to your self-esteem, that constant hypervigilance, those things stick with you. Healing requires its own distinct, dedicated space and its own very unique set of tools. So as we wrap up this explainer on Davavinger 44's incredible playlist, I really want to leave you with this final provocative thought. What if the most effective anti-bullying support comes from the desk right next to you, rather than the principal's office? This 10-video roadmap proves that peer-led grassroots mental health support has a totally unique power. It speaks the actual language of the student. It understands the immediate, messy reality of the classroom, and it operates with this deep, shared empathy. It's just such an inspiring reminder that you don't need to be a licensed professional to make a profound difference in someone's life. You really just need the courage to share what you've learned.